What is going on, Godcast family? My name is Walter with the Black Film Guild. We are a group of filmmakers and photographers, and we have a course for you. If you're interested in learning more about the technical aspects of filmmaking or photography, please go ahead and sign up. If you use the code link Godcast, you get 50% off. And this course is for photography and videography. We look forward to seeing you there.
New York was so powerful, the New York area was so powerful that the only way they could stop New York in the 70s was influx of drugs and guns, man. Because the minds were just too sharp, and the country already failed New York. We said, we ain't even gonna support y'all no more. Fuck New York, right? But the black minds around 75, 76, 77, it was like, and the most cats did at that time was like what? Weed, that was it. And cats were sharp in Newark. They were sharp in Harlem. They were sharp everywhere. The Bronx, man. It was like, yo, the only way they said we got to stop it. The cocaine wars happened. And I remember the cocaine wars because, I ain't smoke, but cats around me smoke. And they were just like, back then they called it, get my reefer, get my bud, I'm good. Mm-hmm. They took weed off the streets, man, for like a year and a half. And there was a big rejection when, cats were like, running to this cat. They would try to
hook us up with the dust.
That with dust. But it gave cats bad results, man. It's like, so cats is like, but you know what? Friday night, want to get my bud, get my reefer, get my brew, whatever. Can't get the reefer. So cats would be like, nah, and got it, shortage and shit. But take this shit. Cats will look at cocaine. That's just that Superfly shit. Fuck that, fuck that. Because remember, cats in the mid-70s, we already seen our uncles and predecessors shooting shit up in their fucking arm.
Right.
And number one.
So you wasn't going to do that.
Yeah, wasn't going to do that. Because number one, this shit was nasty and ugly, and you ain't got to tell a kid to stay off drugs when you got an uncle like this and shit. I don't want to be that.
We'll take a Rudy too, because you seen, Superfly and all these type of niggas with the coke nails, shit like that, and they made it look fly, when they were sniffing coke and shit like that. So that's why niggas started fucking with coke.
The reality, man, is that cats was nodding on stoops. They were fucking strapping their arms up. And then a lot of cats came back from Vietnam and they were going methadone clinics and weaning themselves off. So that shit was unsuccessful, man, in the mid-70s, cats. But when they took weed off the streets, I remember like yesterday, man, you couldn't find cats with a gun. I mean, not every dude with a gun.
Right.
That dude's a straight out thug. That motherfucker will rob you. He probably won't kill you, but he will rob you, man.
And there was only two guns you gonna find.
Only two guns.
A goddamn 38 and a shotgun.
A shotgun by somebody's father that was in the Korean War.
That was in the war. Yes. My grandfather was in the Korean War.
Maybe somebody got a 22. And even earlier times, you might even remember the times of the zip guns, because my pops would tell me about they niggas was making guns and shit, fucking zip guns.
We knew who had a motherfucking gun. And there was more than 5 of them in a small town. And if you happen to be in a small spot like Queens, there wasn't more than 15 real cats.
But at some point, Uzis started weighing tons and Max, and
all of a sudden, man, the cocaine wars happened and they spread out. And the reason that they spread out, because a lot of the cats in the middle of that mix, they lived out in the fucking suburbs. They had their women and their families out like in Nassau County, Queens, Brooklyn, Westchester. You know what I'm saying? The further they got more in that game, they moved their people out, but the game followed them. And then the old heads or OGs at the time, either they got caught up in the new game, jail, eliminated by young cats wanting that money. So it was a mess in 78, 79, really a mess in 79, 80, 81, because anything went. But one thing we knew that was happening, guns and drugs. Guns was like, were everywhere, and drugs was harder in everywhere. and it came through the social thing first. Like, you want to do cocaine because it's affluent. It's the goes with the best looking sound and caviar and coke. But they flipped that motherfucking game so quick, man. They flipped that shit into the little monster. And by 80, 83, 84, into 82, that little monster, man. So going through that period, seriously, and this is New York metropolitan area. Seeing that shit spread out the rest of the 80s, Detroit, Chicago, all they were doing, they were like clapping back late. Like St. Louis, you start seeing the shit happen in 89, that shit happened in 82 in New York. That's how records also spread. Oh, that shit was hot in New York in 82. They're getting hot like 2 years later on the same record. You know what I'm saying? Well, the drug game even was just like that. The drug game was like, yeah, this shit was hot there before motherfuckers got it wiped out so many motherfuckers. That's the new ones coming up was like, I'm not fucking with being a crackhead. And how old are you? 10 years old. And my uncle's a crackhead. Fuck crack. Because I ain't trying to be like that. The same way we looked at cats shooting shit in their arm. But we knew that was going to be a time period, and was a time period that we can explain certain things to the rest of the country and the rest of the world. That's a game, and it's also a game that's exacerbated by the government to try to stop the movement of black energy, black brains. You know what I mean? Black folks, man, in the middle of the 70s, we were moving on shit and dancing at the same fucking time. And that drug fucking game and Reagan and Bush in the 80s, man, that fucking 12-year period from 78 to 1990, you want to talk about COINTELPRO? You ain't got to read about COINTELPRO from 69 and 68. The layer of COINTELPRO from 78 to 1990, we still ain't recovered from. Because that was the first period where a young head would look at an OG like, fuck you, old nigga. Once you got that shit going on, man, it ain't, you know, you gotta let the shit be like you know, like on some kind of Pacific island when the volcano explodes and this shit just wipes everything out, and then you start seeing little blades of greenery pop out through the lava and shit like a month later. It's like that shit gotta happen.
Like you really just made me.
That's how hip hop feels like right now.
I don't know if our generation was the first, because maybe it happened with the dope fiends too. But I just remember like it was people that you would look up to, like these were street gods. Like these were like, and I'm not talking 5%. I'm just mean people that we looked up to on the street, and then they fell victim to crack to the point where they fucking begging you for money type of shit. And you just like, get the fuck out of here. Like you treating them like a piece of shit when you used to look up to them, and it took away a part of your innocence, maybe. Like, you know what I mean? Like because somebody that I looked up to is now like this broken and this beneath me.
Even the women, like some of the you know, the women that like men were just aspiring to get with, like now you can get them in the alley for $1, $5. Like it's I you know, I witnessed a lot of it firsthand.
And it was the lure. It was the lure of people saying, okay, you know what? I ain't got what I want. I'm broke. Fuck that. You know, at least I got myself. But I want to party. I want to have a good time. My brew, my weed, boom, boom, boom. That was the thing. Was like boom. We were good with that. And they said, you know what? We're gonna still get them. So when Cats first was doing coke or whatever, you know, they still had it in the mix and got their party on, have a good time, man.
Right.
They're not trying to fuck nothing up. They're just like, I just want to feel better, you know. And if anything about a drug, the drug takes you to another motherfucking place where it is utopia. The problem is it's coming back to this motherfucker. And they found a way to fuck around and manipulate that shit and throw money up in there to a demographic, a culture, a community that seriously money never was the god. I was coming up in a time, man, you couldn't buy a cat off. They'd be like, nigga, I don't want your money.
Right.
Cats would be like, you know, their jewelry would be like, they went to a fucking wood shop and took a fork and bit that motherfucker like, yeah, nigga.
The red, black, and green medallion. Yeah. It wasn't about
riding with a damn record player, right? 45 backwards on a fucking Stingray, man. Fucking genius, man. Backwards on a Stingray, genius. Big afro. 18, 19 years old. Nigga, I don't want your fucking money. I'm the shit. I'm gonna take your girl too, and they would just take your girl just with their game. They just game. They just had game, super game. That's what the drugs and the guns did. They said we got to stop this black people super because they just mentally they out of this world, man. They're fucking overshine.
Our resilience is like none other, even still to this day.
To this day, it's like so. We knew that, we saw that, and you know, it was one of the things that, okay, well, Public Enemy, number one, we had the commonality to go on attack. We attack, you know, our enemy ain't gonna be, you know, the cat we see that look like me. No, our enemy is gonna be this fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna say this thing is our fucking enemy. And if you loving and hugging this thing, I'm not going to stop your embrace, but we're going to keep attacking this motherfucking thing. You know what I'm saying? Right. And you know, years later, just a couple of years later, seeing that a brand Nubian is attacking this thing. You're not attacking people for they caught up in their shit. They caught up with their addiction. They caught up with their stress. No, you're not attacking that. You're attacking that fucking thing that was infiltrated, that animal injected into us.